Hey, Sandals Church, Pastor Dan Crowley here. Joining me today is Pastor Alfredo from our Palm Avenue campus, and this is the next installment of our Lent project. And have you ever noticed that God will often use surroundings to grab our attention? I mean, they impact us in so many different ways. When we walk into a situation or surroundings, we feel things, we think things. Sometimes we like it, sometimes we don't. But definitely, God uses our surroundings to grab our attention.
Yeah, we're told in Mark chapter 1 that Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness where he was tempted by Satan, and he noticed wild animals. Mark actually takes point of that there were wild animals, there were angels surrounding him and ministering to him. Jesus was very aware of his location, his surroundings. He was alone for 40 days by himself. There was not a lot to eat or drink at all around him. There were creatures, right? There was very little sound, noise that was around him. And yet it was able to be used by God for his purpose to bring him closer to God, even in the midst of being tempted. And I think that's the encouragement for us as we imagine things being taken from us. During this season of Lent, you've maybe challenged yourself to remove things that are harmful, remove things that are hindering your relationship with God. But to know that in that emptying, God can be very near you. God can be very present. Even in the sense of being away from people. Right? The idea is that you can be away, far away from people, and yet be very near to God still. And we see that modeled in the life of Jesus during this temptation.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, as Jesus released his comforts of life, God ministered to him in the midst of his surroundings. And that's our hope for you during this season as well, as you go through this next week and as you think of giving up time, for example, 5 to 10 minutes a day to reflect on the daily prayer prompts and then journal. Our prayer for you is that God ministers to you through this process. And our hope is that he awakens you, that he creates an awareness in you of what he's doing in your life. So remember this week as you go through the daily prayer prompts, giving up that 5 to 10 minutes, make sure you're journaling and writing it down, because when you get to the end of this Lent project, you want to be able to look back and see the work that God has done in your life.
Yeah.
And one last thing, remember, we are moving towards a big experience on Good Friday, and we're going to do that in small groups. So if you are not in a small group, we want to highly encourage you to get into a small group. You can go to sandalschurch.com/groups. There you can search our different small groups and get plugged in. Thanks again for joining us this week, and we hope this series really ministers well to you.